the sessions now.
They're out, right?
Wish they would release the sessions.
I'm so sad. I have to wait tomorrow end of the day. Fucking God.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't
true.
touch them until tomorrow evening also, if that makes you feel better. I have to work the rest of the week.
Oh.
But the sessions are not out yet, right? None of them is out.
No, they don't. They get phased release.
Yeah, they will be released around 10 a.m. I guess, Pacific time.
No. Yeah, probably. Yeah.
No, 8 a.m.
It's-
Central.
8 a.m.
5 p.m. for us.
5 p.m. Okay, so 8 a.m. Pacific time, like from. Yeah. Okay. Anyways, yeah, cool. So, yeah, I see all the sessions. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is go through all the sessions and bookmark them.
Yeah, I just did it for the sessions tomorrow. I will do the other of them next, probably tomorrow. So.
Yeah, I think I will go through them.
I've been doing them
right away.
slowly.
But by the way, guys, they released the WWDC22 Coding Power Up playlist on Apple Music. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah, I saw on Twitter also they have the 4 coding playlists, so that's always great.
Mhm.
I love them. I use them all the time. So, want to discuss about the Platform Safety Union?
Yes, there is coding focus, coding energy, coding power up, coding chill.
Exactly, yeah. So, what was the thing that you liked most? Each of you.
Widget kit for me.
Widget kit.
I am so looking forward for it. Because first, for trying to build complications for Shubi on WatchOS and the nightmare that it is, I'm looking forward to not have to do it, more or less. And and maybe a second one to pick up. I don't know, maybe the new layout things for SwiftUI looks promising. Let's play with. No, Swift charts. I'm stupid.
Charts,
It's
right?
Swift chart for me. It's like.
I was just thinking like, why I didn't? You're a designer. You should choose Swift
I'm going to
charts.
stop to work on Demeter right away to just wait for September or maybe. No, I think I'm gonna release it with polishing more and wait for September to have a proper release with all the graph and everything, because that's gonna be perfect.
Nice.
What about you?
But you, wait, Megan.
Swift charts also looks like it's going to be great to add in. I'm also actually slightly excited to get WeatherKit built in and ready to go. Just like, I don't know, I feel like with the CarPlay stuff coming out, like it's going to be super exciting to see how it all integrates together, or see what apps can actually do, what third-party apps can do also.
There is a session tomorrow about CarPlay. I saw it on the.
Nice.
And it's probably new capabilities for private apps to have new stuff probably on CarPlay. I don't know.
I just checked the pricing of the WeatherKit API, and the fun thing is they put on 5 different levels, but actually it's all the same price. 1 million calls is $50, and it just scales proportionally. So I don't know why they put like different prices and numbers there. It's really funny. You just have to say like 1 million is $50 per month, and it just scales just like that.
That's not terrible, but I don't know. I still feel like they could just, do it for free.
I think so too. Maybe freemium. So like the first million is free.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's kind of fair, but for most users, I think that should be fine.
Yeah, that's a bit weird to see this kind of pricing for this. It's.
I think now only bigger companies are going to be able to really use it, and as an indie developer, only if your app really needs the data, it's going to make sense. Otherwise, you won't like improve your app with just adding one feature with WeatherKit. I think that doesn't make sense anymore.
Mm-hmm.
No, I agree.
But yeah, I also like Swift charts a lot. And I'm looking forward to a lot to like in 2 or 3 years when a lot of websites and apps have adopted the new Passkey feature. Because I really, really, really think that many people in my family, like my parents and people like that, they just have very weak passwords. And I try to convince them to and try to teach them. But for them, it's they will just use the simplest way possible. And I think if there is no password in an app, you can't create a password, it's never asking for one, that's like the only way they're really going to be safe online. So I think that's a big deal, but I don't think it's going to be really practical. Even if iOS 16 is out, I don't think many people will actually be able to use it.
I agree.
Long term, I think it's a good thing.
It's going to take a couple of years, like signing with app. But that's weird because they didn't talk at all about signing with Apple. So does it mean that they are like forgetting it, or it's just part of it? Is it super weird?
I think it's an extra thing. Signing with Apple, I think, will stay. And it's just,
I think it's just extra, especially for the sites that won't support it for a while. Like, signing with Apple is still pretty secure, but it's still not as secure as the other one.
It's still email-based, so it's a different technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, true.
How long am I streaming today? I'm streaming like for at least half an hour more, just to answer a question. So one more thing I want to mention is a lot of people who have been using SwiftUI have complained about the navigation of SwiftUI. And now we are getting a new navigation API with the new navigation stack. So I think that's also going to be something that many people are going to really try out at least. And if it works the way that people expect it, then I think people are going to love that.
Yes.
I guess, like, I've never one that has complained about the navigation. I don't know. It just seems really... The navigation in SwiftUI already seemed pretty declarative to me. Like, that's... I mean, it works exactly how the web frameworks work that are declarative also. Like, it's...
Oh, Cocoa Type.
Maybe I'm not doing complex enough stuff, but, like...
Thank you for the raid.
From the web development world that's, like, that's more, like, declarative, it seemed to really mesh well. So I'm curious how this will go too, though.
True, I totally agree. But at the same time, I did see that also on Twitter there were multiple discussions about SwiftUI, and always the top thing that came up that they didn't like about it is the navigation. So there is now new APIs, and at least those people I think will have something else now to try out.
Mm-hmm.
So it's funny because I'm just looking at all the sessions about SwiftUI, and except one tomorrow called the SwiftUI Cookbook for Navigation, and I'm not even sure about this. We'll introduce you to SwiftUI's navigation stack and split view features. I don't see, so it's about it. So it's tomorrow at 5. There is one called the SwiftUI Cookbook for Navigation.
Welcome, URL. So I've been rated by Cocoa Type, and also Cocoa Type wanted to join a discussion. So I don't know if your Discord is going to stay open, Jeremy, for a while, so Cocoa Type can just join that.
Of course you can. Of course, I'm going to let it open and close it tomorrow.
Okay, can you invite him somehow? Because I couldn't find an invite link or something.
Yes, give me a
Maybe Cocoa Type, so if you're there, that's the easiest way to...
Send the link if that's it. Maybe.
Right.
So Cocoa Type, I think it would be easiest if you could just join the Discord that we're already discussing in, and then we could go through all the things that were announced and discuss in more detail. And Megan, if you want to stay, Jeremy, you already said you want to leave, or you have to leave. You feel free to stay.
You know, man, I was thinking that to go to bed.
But now, no longer.
I'm still there. Can you send him the link I sent you in DM in direct messages?
Oh, sure. Let me.
Yeah, I think I did already. If he goes checks his Discord messages.
Dragon Dust. I'm hyped for the new navigation.
That's the same.
Me too.
Same one.
See how it works. Maybe I don't need my own anymore. Yeah, probably. Fully. You for you. It's funny because the library I'm using for the guy, I forgot his name. Majid Jabrailov. has been pinged by Paul Hudson during the State of the Unions.
What happened to the Majid?
He was working on a SwiftUI chart library. For
yeah. True,
and that's the one I'm using on Demeter, the one so of course he's going to stop to work on it.
Or at least like
I hope they add PyTorch soon to that.
The new library will only be compatible with iOS 16, I think. So maybe he wants to keep it for backwards compatibility.
Right. We'll see, because right now my goal was to have something working smoothly on between macOS and iOS and iPadOS also. And when I'm adapting layout based on the size available, and that's exactly what I need right now, because when you're switching between landscape and portrait mode on iPad, it's a hell of work you can do it this way, but if you're adding another complexity, which is multiple windows open on iPadOS, it's a nightmare.
True. So Geoff, welcome to Discord.
Hello.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Thank you for having me.
How are you doing? How was your evening so far, or your morning?
Yeah, pretty busy. I mean, I've been online watching everything since the very beginning, and we just got finished with the State of the Union, so I'm currently doing the install all of the updates
on your devices.
All the betas.
Are you putting them on your devices already, like your main devices?
Yes, I am. Oh, not my main devices. No.
I'm doing it also on I have an 11 Pro I'm using for that. It's currently installing.
I only have an iPhone 6s to install betas on, and that's not supported anymore, unfortunately. So I have to get new devices. Okay, so
I had the.
Yeah, sure, go on.
I was going to say, I just had the same problem with my main test device. It was an iPhone SE, and they don't support it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, it always makes sense to test with the oldest or smallest screen device or the slowest CPU device, so you can make sure that all devices support what you need. And now that they're deprecating, you always have to sell the old device that you have and buy a new second-hand old device. That's how it works, right? I don't know how you do it. Do you just
I'm just reading that they're deprecating also the Apple Watch Series 3.
Oh, really?
No.
Okay.
Aren't they still selling that?
I don't think they are selling it, but it's kind of like the new Watch SE was. No, it was the fourth one, I think. The current watch, the Series 7 SE, I think that's the name of it. It was more or less the fourth one.
Interesting.
Okay. Yes, you can still go to apple.com and buy a Series Watch 3.
Still?
Series 3 watch.
You can still buy it?
Yeah.
So why are they not supporting WatchOS 9?
I was going to say, I knew it had held on for quite a while. And it sounds like it's still holding on and they're deprecating it, even though they're still selling it.
Interesting.
That sounds like something that's currently happening in Apple. I feel like they're just hitting supply, too much supply on things right now.
Oh, Jeremy, I have a bad news for you. I just read that the iOS 16 lock screen customizations are not coming to iPadOS 16.
Oh, that's upsetting.
Yeah, I just read it on Mac Rumors.
Why?
I don't know. Probably with widget kits, where they first brought widgets to iPhone and then later on iPad. Wasn't it like that? Something like that?
Yeah.
Yeah, they did that with widget kit.
Yeah, they put it in the sidebar immediately, but then it was a year later that they let you put it on the home screen as well.
Well, the sidebar thing was not really the main advantage of the widget was that you could place them anywhere, and that was the cool thing.
Yeah.
There is another thing that I'm super interesting to play with is the new view for macOS to add your app or any view on the. I don't know if you remember during the State of the Union, there's a new view that you can call from the main view, and it's adding an icon or whatever you want on the top bar on macOS.
Yeah, that's I didn't quite get that.
Yeah, right.
But that's
going to be an interesting stuff to play with.
Sounds really cool, yeah. So, Geoff, as you joined us later, what was your favorite? Let's start with the first keynote first. So, what was your favorite feature that's like consumer facing, iOS, watchOS, Mac, whatever?
Oh, favorite feature that's consumer facing.
So
Hold on, I'm rebooting my computer, so I gotta switch back to see the announcements again. I mean, I'm definitely always excited for new iPad stuff. So a lot of the new multi-window support stuff on iPad is super cool. Let's see what else. I feel like this is a bit of a very small feature, but one that I'm super excited to have is the ability to actually switch between devices during a FaceTime call.
Oh yeah, true.
Oh yes, it's amazing. Yeah, true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, where it's like, I started a call on my iPhone, but now I've wandered into the other room and I want to do it on my iPad where it's bigger and has more battery. I'm super excited for that. Oh, and the new Safari Passkey stuff. I'm worried about like how many websites will actually do it, but I'm going to use it on every single one that I can.
Yeah, but wasn't like I think like 2 years ago, I was already hoping that many would switch to the new Fido standard with the WebAuthn that they mentioned that, and Apple was the only company not having support on their devices. I mean, Microsoft added support for Fido, Android added support, iOS only in Safari. It did work in Safari, but there was no true support. Now I think I didn't check the details, but now I think now that every major platform has it, I can imagine like newer websites and some more modern websites adopting it. And I already mentioned before to Jeremy here also that I really look forward like in 2 to 3 years to see how that might improve like my parents' safety.
Mm.
Yeah. So
not just safety, but like ability to use their machines. I know something that I'm always dealing with my sister more than my parents is just hey, I forgot my password. And it's like, I pay for a 1Password account for the family. Please use it.
Yeah. Yeah, I will also try to teach them to use a password manager and stuff, but they just don't do it. They're just too lazy about this topic and don't realize how important it is.
I'm just playing with the lock screen on the new one.
So you have it installed already?
You're moving a widget. You cannot move a widget to replace another one. I guess they are going to add this later on. You need to remove, because you just have 3 slots. You need to remove the one to be able to add another one, or
add it to the other.
Yeah. Right.
Interesting.
But it's looking super great. And the level of customization is crazy.
Well, what do you guys think about Stage Manager on macOS? I mean, on iPadOS, obviously, it's an improvement, but on macOS, it's also there. Do you like it, or is there some concerns you have there?
Stage Manager?
I have concerns because it's on the left side, and that's where my dock goes.
Ah, yeah. Maybe you can move it. Maybe you can move it at the bottom, but I guess not.
I hope so. I guess, but like the whole reason I don't keep my dock at the bottom is because I don't want to use vertical space. I don't know. It's an interesting idea. I think it'll be useful for like the purposes that they showed to drag and drop stuff onto other screens and stuff, because I constantly rearrange my displays to be able to drag from the desktop to like Final Cut or something. But maybe I'll have to be a right dock person then. Yeah.
The Stage Manager feature, I mean, where you can like group different apps and then you can switch between apps and stuff like that. Like a new way of managing Windows, I would say.
Well, the transition between the lock screen and the home view is super cool. So I have the astronomy I'm screen, and when I'm unlocking, it's zooming on the moon. It's super nice. It's completely useless, but it's looking super great.
That's the designer talking here.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, looking great. It can be its own benefit.
Yeah, definitely.
For sure, yeah.
I really liked the one that they showed off that you had the weather as the background for the lock screen, and it had like the actual current weather effects. So if it was raining, you actually had rain on your lock screen, stuff like that.
True.
Yeah, I did. Very good.
Okay, Geoff, so what was let's get back to the Platform State of Union then. What was your favorite features from that?
I don't know yet because I haven't, I want to get into actually playing with them. The ones that I'm super excited to dig into are the app intents, where it's like, we made secure or shortcuts something that we made it much more discoverable for users. We made it much more easy for users to kind of use the power of shortcuts outside of your app. And then the other one is the new collaboration stuff. So I don't know how easy or difficult that's going to be to make, to tie into, but I'm interested in looking at it and finding out.
True. I mean, the app intents framework is more or less an improvement on the custom intents that were already available in SiriKit. Did you use SiriKit and all the intent definition files, and that's the great part about it, which you no longer need. You can just write a Swift file now and everything is in code.
No longer need the intent definition file. It's very nice, yeah.
That's really cool, right? But you were using...
I had done the intent definitions before, so yeah.
I did it for one of my apps. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, I think also it's not very well documented, right?
It was a bit tricky for me. But also, I'm a noob, so it's probably it doesn't help. But and also the tricky part for me was that for Siri shortcuts, all the answers, if you need to display something, you need to use UIKit, and I've started with SwiftUI, so for me it was super tricky to do it. And I saw also that now you can use SwiftUI for Siri, so it's gonna be easier. A lot easier, actually. For me, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's looking inviting now, this API with I think it's a protocol named app enum. And then you just have to describe what the text is. And it's really guiding you through what you need to do in order to provide this intent. And I no longer need to even probably need to read the documentation for it. I mean, obviously I should do it because there's always some gotchas there that you otherwise miss. But intent definition files, I actually added one once because for this Barty Crouch open source framework, which can translate or help you translate your app, somebody had actually requested to add support for intent definition files. Looks like there is localization support for that kind of file. And they wanted me to add support on Barty Crouch to help them translate their apps better. And I tried to understand intent definition files there in detail, but I just couldn't wrap my mind around it.
Yeah, and I never tried editing it directly, but even just using the Xcode editor, it was always I'm not quite sure what I need to fill in and what I don't need to fill in.
Exactly.
And around the enum stuff that you were talking about, it was always, I'm not entirely sure if what I'm doing is correct, and might as well just edit it and see what kind of errors I get.
That was exactly my feeling too, that it's not really clearly documented, and there were a lot of fields that sounded similar to me, and then I never knew should I put it in the title, in the description, or whatever names there were, and that was kind of confusing.
Yeah.
All right. So a lot of iPad improvements on the consumer side, I would say, especially for M1 iPads. I'm not sure if the other iPads are going to get that same treatment as well. What do you think about the new WeatherKit API and that it's being priced?
It's a shame.
Okay.
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, it seems like it's priced competitively to other APIs, weather APIs, but it is still expensive just in general. I don't think that this is going to cause an explosion of new weather apps.
Yeah. Isn't that kind of confusing that Apple, out of all companies, is making a competitive price on an API that could like benefit consumers otherwise if they made it cheaper or for free? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure about this, to be honest. Because the only benefit from it is like ready to use. So you just need to add the capability and you can just implement the thing immediately. But like you were saying, no new weather app are going to be. I'm not seeing this happening.
Yeah.
So,
Anyway.
what else? Geoff, have you ever used Metal? Because we were like not sure.
No.
Oh, okay. We were all not sure how big of an improvement the new features are, so maybe I thought you could add something there.
No, sorry. I have not done any more than just like basically trying to get a view appearing and failing even at that.
So what about the SwiftUI changes now? They mentioned the new Grid API to align views. I think that's going to be
that one. That I'm super excited about.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, the other day I was sharing my code with you on your stream because I couldn't figure out how to lay out like
I remember
4 text fields in comparison to each other, and it's like that was exactly the API I needed at that time.
That's right. That's true. And also, that's I think one of the most common tips on SwiftUI is how to align different views with each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's complicated.
Now, no longer it is complicated.
Yes.
Or at
I
least
have to make my app iOS 16 only. So.
Yeah, that's true.
It's a Mac app, so I guess macOS 13 only.
I do it. I've done it before. With like new features that I really want to use, I'm like, well, that's it. We just have to upgrade. I'm sorry, y'all.
I mean, thankfully, this one that I'm working on is a brand new app, so it's just like, I just kick this down the road, and yep, it's 13 only. Deal with it.
Nice.
At least on iOS, I think people upgrade faster, but on macOS, I feel there's always some people who wait half a year or something before they upgrade.
Yeah.
So that's a bigger problem on macOS, I think, than on iOS. And iPadOS also doesn't upgrade as fast as iOS. So one more thing on SwiftUI, we already discussed this a little bit before. People always complain, or at least some portion of people who use SwiftUI complain that navigation is unnecessarily complicated. And while I think we discussed, we thought that it's not such a big problem actually if you do your data correctly. But still, do you think that the new navigation stack and a new navigation destination and modifier, do you think that's going to be a big change there?
I mean, I haven't really looked into it too much, so.
Did you? Okay.
I was thinking.
Did you have navigation?
Yeah.
Did you have navigation problems yourself?
The only thing that I saw that was like super jumped out, because I kind of feel the same way, that like navigation didn't seem that difficult on SwiftUI before, but they showed, or they kind of briefly mentioned, they haven't really showed anything, but the new navigation stack stuff is going to support deep linking a lot better. And I can imagine that that's going to be really useful to people that have to support deep linking or universal linking in their apps. That one does seem like it would have been kind of complicated before.
I see. So
it's true, and I tried from a notification to open the dedicated view, for example, a dedicated item. I never found the way on SwiftUI. So maybe it's going to help there.
I think this is meant to solve that.
Hopefully.
And also there is maybe some issues. I encountered it a couple of times. Is when you're opening a sheet from a subview from a navigation link, for example, you are encountering a lot of errors So I guess, I hope this is going to better now. Even if it's not only Xcode is warning you like hell, the console. But it's UI kit issue, so it's working. So I guess there is a reason for the, but maybe this will be better now.
All right, I just went through the developer app, and I'm seeing a couple of more APIs that if I would like to talk about. For example, the meet focus and the focus filters. So there's going to be a new API for apps to adopt or to read and use the focus mode that users have selected. Do you have any use cases in mind for maybe apps that you're also working on and that you think you could use this feature actually?
Not for me.
Because same.
Why go ahead?
I was just to say same. I don't have any apps for it, but I'm excited to use it as a user.
Okay, so I'm thinking about like stream. Of course, obviously, when I'm in a stream, I want to turn on like a stream focus. Also, when I'm working, because I don't want to get notifications, for example, from Twitter when I'm like in the focused when I'm in the flow, basically. And there's where I'm using focus modes a lot. And obviously, when I'm sleeping, of course, I would count that as also as one. And I can imagine, for example, when you are in a reading app, that when you are in the sleep mode, for example, it turns the whole screen black, for example. And for a streaming app like Twitch also, I can imagine that it does some things. I don't know. I can imagine that it could be quite useful. But not your
focus filters it. Okay.
Yeah, go on.
Oh, well. Another thing I'm super excited about is that SF Symbols 4 is bringing now 1,000 new icons. There is now more than 4,000 icons on SF Symbols, so I'm looking forward to play with it.
That's nice. And you can adopt variable colors in SF Symbols.
Yeah, that's, I don't know.
Whatever that means.
But it looks promising.
Y'all, I gotta run. I gotta jump.
Yeah, sure.
This is really fun. I appreciate listening and talking and discussing with y'all. I will see y'all on the internet.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Thanks for stopping by.
Bye.
Have a nice day. Bye, Megan.
Oh, there is a dedicated session about designing an effective chart.
That makes sense.
Nice.
What? I only went through tomorrow's session so far, but what sessions are you all looking at? Which ones are you gonna watch first?
Let me check what
I haven't went through all of them yet. I will, I think, do that right after our discussion and bookmark them all. But I can already, I typically always watch all the sessions that start with what's new in, and that are called meet. Because I want to know which APIs are available.
What's new in SwiftUI, I think that's the first one I'm going to watch.
Yeah, I will definitely watch that. And I found the SwiftUI Cookbook for navigation. That sounds like a really interesting one.
Yeah, I bookmarked that one as well. Yeah, I similarly did the what's new in everything.
Except maybe for gaming APIs.
So
Except maybe for gaming APIs, and sometimes they also have web-specific APIs. I always watch the first minutes there to see if there's anything interesting, and then I skip them sometimes.
skip through it. Yeah, I did see that there was like a web push one. I was like, okay, maybe later.
Yeah.
Oh, there is one. I saw it. I forgot where it is, but I saw it. Say, meet web push for Safaris tomorrow at 5.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I'm really looking forward to the what's new in Xcode, to be honest, because we didn't see so many details from Xcode mentioned.
Yeah.
But I saw both when I started Xcode. I mean, I have it installed already, and also in their presentation that there are a lot of details in the SwiftUI previews, especially that have changed. So I'm looking forward to seeing the details there, how it works.
I'm waiting for my Mac to update so that I can open Xcode, because it required like the latest Mac OS, and I didn't have that yet.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Still waiting for that to find out what is in Xcode, but I saw, they had like, because one thing that I constantly ran into with Swift UI was, I want to have my light mode and my dark mode, and you kind of have to just copy and paste it in the older Xcode. You have like the preferred layout style or whatever it is. Now it's like, you can literally just say, hey, give me both user interface appearances.
So you mean like seeing both previews at the same time?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and then I think they also have one that's like, you can see landscape and portrait at the same time. There's a couple different ones that I saw in the State of the Union.
True.
That's really cool. I was always using an extension that I wrote myself that I call Preview Variants, where I have dark modes and also I have different dynamic type sizes, so I can basically see two previews that have a lot of things different. And so I just had one line that I needed to add, and I have it just open here, so maybe I can show an example, like the timer view.
I'm just discovering, meanwhile, there is an new 3
this one.
Font in San Francisco.
Oh, a new one?
Okay.
New variant?
Adding condensed, compressed, and expanded.
Oh, that's nice.
Well, so the expanded, because they had started to kind of like hint at that. The expanded is what the emails have been in. They've had like the WWDC emails, and it was like starting soon or something. It said that it had like this really wide text. Yeah, that's that SF expanded.
Oh, okay, I see. So we're getting more APIs that Apple was using internally, and now they're exposed to developers. So anyone watching this on Twitch, this is the extension I wrote basically. And I have 2 Mac versions, one with light mode and dark mode, and also 2 iOS. And this is in the sample app. Also, it's open source, so you can just copy and paste it from GitHub. It's called Open Focus Timer. And you can see I have different dynamic types and things like that set up.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. You know, that makes a lot of sense. I was always just copying and pasting them, but yeah, you should have just had a extension like that.
Yeah, I learned that from John Sandell, I think. He wrote something similar, and I just adjusted that to my needs. But as I can see here, I can no longer see all of them at once, so I have to adjust this. I can. I just have to click these things here. Oh, I see now. Yeah, a lot of things have changed there. I'm looking forward to what's new in Xcode.
Yeah.
I also saw there is build global apps, localization by example. Anything related to localization, I definitely have to watch because I'm working on an app related to localization. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes that pretty obvious.
Yeah, of course. But I'm happy that there is
for designing for Arabic.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
And it's part also of the accessibility. There is a dedicated accessibility. I think it's on Wednesday.
Improve build and launch times. There's a session on that.
Yeah, I'm just bookmarking almost every session. Except the metal one. It's create accessible single app mode experiences. I need to watch this. Okay, I hope they're not too long.
Yeah, design for Arabic.
I get it. The distributed actors, did any of you know anything about that? Because they kind of like brushed through that during the State of the Union, but he was like, oh yeah, you can just have your same Swift code on the server and the client, and it just works somehow. And that seems like magic, and I'm kind of curious about what exactly it is.
It's a new API in Swift, and I tried to understand it several times, and I wouldn't say I fully understand it, and I also have the feeling that it's not completed yet, especially the distributed one. So the actor, I think, is quite far already, but the distributed part...
Actors I've used. The distributed, I don't know.
And as far as I understand it, it's just a way to communicate, to make Swift data communicate and synchronize with each other across threads and across different devices. And my feeling is that it could be used exactly for things like CloudKit and like your own server-side infrastructure. If you had Swift on your server, you could also probably do it there. And then you could in theory, even communicate between a web API, web server, and your client API through distributed actors, maybe. But I'm not really sure if that's the main use case. I feel not.
Yeah, that's what I want to find out, because I have done a lot of Swift on server stuff, and so it would be neat to say like, oh yeah, this thing and this thing, they're now connected somehow.
Yeah, I've heard from the maintainer of Vapor in a podcast with John Sandell that he's aiming to have a new Vapor version, major Vapor version, Vapor 5 out as soon as Swift 6 is out, because he's expecting Swift 6 to be completed in the regard of distributed actors, and he's expecting that distributed actors will have a huge influence on the next on the shape of the next Vapor version.
Nice.
So that's basically all I know about the future there, and I think he's quite aware of what distributed actors actually mean.
Yeah, he would have to know that. Yeah, there's a Meet Distributed Actors on Wednesday, so I have to watch that one.
Yeah, I will watch that as well.
There is some. I just found there is some dedicated sessions to core data. There is one, optimize your use of core data in CloudKit on Wednesday, and there is one to evolve your core data schema. I think, that's it.
Create Swift package plugins. This is one I'm looking forward to as well, because I've been trying to. I have multiple open source tools also out, and I want to integrate them with Swift packages. Like they are meant to be used with build scripts. And if you have like a framework, or if you're using a modularized app and you're just building a small module of your app, then obviously the build scripts don't run, because there's no Xcode project in that case. And Swift packages could replace that, Swift package plugins, I mean. And I haven't been able to create one because there was no real good documentation. I think the session might help out there.
Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting one.
I think there is benchmarks coming up on app analytics. There is a session called Discover Benchmarks in App Analytics. Learn how App Store App Analytics can provide unique insights and help you measure your app performance on the App Store. We'll show you how to use the new App Benchmarks tool to rank your app's performance beside similar products in a privacy-preserving way.
Oh,
nice.
Sounds like it's replacing some of the tools that are out there, or the services.
Right. Well, it's about time to do this, to be honest.
Yeah, true.
Because the data harvesting that is coming up right now with all these tools, and you can even know which edge people are using. People are using it crazy.
Okay, that's about it, I think, for like what I have written down. Do you have any other things you want to highlight?
I'm not seeing anything. Are either of you getting the M2 machines?
No.
I bought the M1 Pro, so if there was an M2 Pro, then I might think about it, but I also am not the type of guy that's like updating their devices every year.
And the M1 machines are so great anyway that like there's not a compelling need to upgrade from the M1s.
Well, the Mac how is it called? Mac Studio with the M1 Ultra, that's actually 40% faster than my M Pro machine, and that is like looking at me and saying like, hey, you should have like me doing your builds. And but it's a bit too expensive in my case, like at the moment. Otherwise, like reducing your build time by 40%, like in my case, it's really a huge productivity benefit. So if there is such a big improvement, I'm definitely going to buy it. But I think I will just wait with my M1 Pro until there is an M2 Ultra.
Yeah.
That's what I'm waiting for.
I'm a little surprised we didn't get a preview of the Mac Pro today.
Yeah, true.
Well, that's weird. I agree.
I mean, it has to come out this year with their 2-year announcement. Mm-hmm. So they could have shown a sneak peek, but they've shown other sneak peeks to software. So I guess they just try to focus on software when it comes to sneak peeks.
Yeah.
Oh, let me close my stream.
And talking about things that weren't mentioned, we also didn't have much. We didn't hear much about AR or VR today.
Yeah.
No, and I just watched the sessions on the topic, and there is, I think, one session about ARKit 6, one about what's the name of it? The room rendering thing.
Room scan or whatever it is.
Right. Room plan, voilà. And that's it. There is after qualities of great AR experiences, but this is about design. Bring your world into augmented reality, and I guess, yeah, it's object capture, so there is nothing new there.
Yeah, they only have what 6 augmented reality sessions under the augmented reality topic.
It's not a lot.
Yeah.
Because it means that they are not improving. What's the name of the tool for playing on iPad or macOS to play with AR? So it means that this is not changing yet. That's weird. There is a lot of hole in this year WWDC.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't expect that we would see hardware today for the AR hardware that is heavily rumored, but I'm surprised to not see just like a whole bunch of extra AR content.
I was expecting a bit, to be honest, when I saw that they trademarked reality OS. I said, okay, that's for now.
I was sure that we were going to, I didn't think that we would get hardware or a Reality OS announcement necessarily, but I would have expected a lot more. Like ARKit 6 is just like completely redoing everything, and it seems like we got mostly just tiny little upgrades for it.
Although we have now a new API that is able to scan the inside of buildings. And that sounds to me like they're preparing for in-house AR experiences, and they want apps to adopt that API already. If you know what I mean?
Yeah, they also said like it classifies what you're looking at, so it can tell like what's a sofa, what's a whatever. So maybe they'll do like context-aware AI stuff. You know, like I'm sitting on the couch. I'm probably gonna want to watch TV.
But I mean, that only works if you have like a device that always is on and tracking you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I was thinking about like retail stores and shops, supermarkets, things like that, where, for example, a big supermarket could just develop an app that uses that API, and then an employee just walks through the whole market and scans everything, and then you have the full data that you can use in your app that navigates you through your shop or something like that.
Yeah, is that something that they, did they announce or did they talk about at all, being able to export that data for use in other devices? Because on other devices. Because I know that a couple years ago they did the whole, shared context AR thing. Is this something where you can actually build that shared context ahead of time and then have everybody else that downloads your app use that?
I think they did mention that you can export this into a USDZ file. So okay. I'm assuming that it is possible.
USDZ is I don't know. Yeah, sorry.
I mean, I'm seeing this more like a preparation kind of API, so developers get used to it and try out and play around with it already, and maybe there's going to be some experiences possible right now. But I'm expecting this still be like something that they then later can say, okay, that's not something new you have to learn because that's from last year, and now here's the new API, and with all APIs together, this is our AR experience for developers. I don't know.
Yeah.
Just to make it easier for us developers.
Folks, have a great night. Thanks.
Yeah, Jeremy. Thank you for joining by. Thank you for inviting me also to the discussion. It was really
this
nice.
Party was amazing.
So, Geoff, you're going to stay a little bit, right?
Sorry?
You're still staying, right? Geoff?
I think I'm gonna head out as well. But,
okay. Yeah. Okay, all right, then thank you, everybody. And I'm going to continue a bit streaming. I'll be going through the Swift UI and the sessions. But I wish you a good night, Jeremy, and good day, Geoff, then.
Talking to you tomorrow.
Thank you for stopping by.
Yeah.